You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
Yes.
Yep.
The first one is yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're live. Okay, good evening and welcome to the Board of Fire Commissioners, October 27th, 2022 meeting. Time is 5:03. I'm going to start off with the approval of minutes. Do we have any on the minutes for approval? If not, we can defer to that, and I could ask for a motion to go into executive session.
So
We'll come
moved.
back and do
I'll
that.
second
Thank you.
that.
Okay, motion made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so voted in executive session at 5:04.
Okay.
I never have
Okay, we're out of executive session, 7:03. Okay, next, Trista, do we, approval of minutes, do you have any minutes listed, or do you want to do that next meeting?
Oh, yeah, let's do that the next
Okay,
meeting.
yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, I know we've had some, so,
Yeah.
okay. On committee reports on personnel, we just had the interview for the interviews for the candidates for the position of full-time fire chief. We'll be working on that and under new business.
Assistant fire chief.
Oh, yeah, assistant fire chief. Boy, I'm trying to-
Good, you're right.
All right.
Oh, yeah, he's not retiring
He's
yet.
paying attention. That's good.
Yeah. Training Commissioner Clem.
Yes, okay. I'm gonna take up some time. A few
Read
weeks.
the limit in a hurry.
I know it, but no, you've got to listen to
I
what I
read it.
did. A few weeks ago, the department had a training session for a number of days over at the Brantford Yacht Club. I had seen an article in the Sound one day that the Brantford Yacht Club was going to be tearing down a building, okay? So I thought, okay, interesting, maybe we could use it for training. So I called Deputy Chief Kudjma to ask him would he follow up with it and see possibly, okay. So, okay, sure enough, yes, we could use it. And I'm like, yes. So then he had to schedule, how the career staff was going to be able there, how the volunteers were. So everything worked out that certain days would be allotted and the guys would be there all day. Okay. So I went over one Sunday and was blown away. Hopefully next year, this type of training session will be set up again, and I encourage the commissioners, when you get the information, to please come and just observe, just watch what is going on. I mean, I've been with the department long enough, I've been to fires in the old days, and everybody would explain to me what was going on and stuff. But this was different. They had 3 stages set up when I was there. One, they were working on the roof, okay. Second, they were in the basement of this old house, and they were getting a body out, and bringing the body out. And then they had a 3rd stage set up that it just never dawned on me till you get a call and you need to get in someone's home. How you get in? I always figured, you just kick the door in, no big deal. Well, there's a little more to it than that. Anyway, I had a chance to talk to the gentlemen who were doing the training. And it was just for me very, very interesting. And that's why I said I'm so glad that I went over to watch them. Deputy Chief Judd tried to talk me into going up the 35-foot ladder to the roof. And I said, maybe 10 feet I would have done, but not 35. But anyway, but I think what also amazed me is that to get up this 35-foot ladder, there is a bar. What's the name of that bar? It got the point on the end.
Oh,
The Halligan tool?
Okay, it must weigh, I picked it up, it must be this long, it must weigh 15 pounds or better. Okay, so the guy, whoever took it up to the roof, carried this bar. How he managed, I don't know. And then the axe, okay, you've got the axe, or the saw, I'm sorry, saw. This saw, I picked it up, it's gotta weigh 20 pounds or better, at least. How they managed getting up with the saw, I haven't figured out yet. But anyway, so I stood and watched the attic and all this sort of stuff, and it was just very, very informative for me and stuff. So I encourage you next year, let's all go over and watch them. And what was really, there was so many of the guys there. I mean, you do a shift, you do the shift so everybody's there. I mean, I saw people I haven't seen in ages. And, but no, and people explained stuff to me. So that was the best part. So anyway, so that was my,
Great.
that was
Good.
my fire training. Yes.
Nice. Chief, when people apply for a demo permit at the building official's office, do they like tell the fire marshal that we get personal? I know I've given a lot, that we've had because I hear about it.
I don't think we get them all, but
No.
if they're bigger,
Yeah.
bigger projects, typically, a lot of times what happens is just the process these days. By the time
you get all the asbestos.
they have to do the remediation, and by the time they get all that and they get the approval to actually do it, they
house is
wanted
gone.
the building down a month
Yeah.
ago. So
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
it's not like it used to be.
No.
Where, they'd be like, hey, just burn it down for
Yes,
us. And
I
we'd
know.
burn it down, and
Those days are gone.
it's, but we do appreciate
Yeah.
the
Yeah, good.
opportunity when we get it.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Good, yeah. Okay, apparatus, Commissioner LaCroix.
Apparatus.
Apparatus. What did I say?
Got a few things. Replacement of the Marine 5's electronic package was recently completed by NL Electronics. The annual DOT ladder hose pumping and extrication tools have been inspected for all apparatus. Truck One's outrigger braces. This was a little bit of a big deal. So this is obviously one of our frontline pieces, and it had developed a crack in the outrigger, and it was an engineered welding repair, a quite expensive one if we had to pay for it. It was the numbers that I had received. This was a $60,000 to $70,000 repair, but was all covered under the warranty through Smeal and Spartan. And so that was very important. It's good to have it back in service. The Engine One committee has completed their specifications with the bid, and they've received a couple of responses from them, responses to the bids. And hang on a second. And so, two of the responses, one of the responses that we received came back with over 40 items that were not followed to specifications, but yet indicated that they were all in spec. And so had a brief meeting with Captain Carson today about this, and it's quite extensive. It was decided and approved, it was decided by the committee and approved by the first selectman that we would go to the next lowest bid for this. But just to give the sort of public an understanding of this, a spec came through, and there was over 40 items. I just highlighted a couple of them. The wrong tires to start off with were in the bid.
Size tires.
Oh, my gosh.
The EMS compartments from both sides of the vehicle were smaller than specified. The alternator, where we had spec'd a 430 amp alternator, came in as a 320 amp. Another big one I thought, we had spec'd out compartments along the body for the SCBA bottles, self-contained breathing apparatus bottles. They had only given us 4, and we had it spec'd out oversized, and they had given us the smaller size. And I'll just do a couple. I promise you, I won't go through the whole list. This is a lot.
I'm kicking you under the table.
There was no service manual that they didn't do with it, and then some of the other storage spaces were small, and they won't accommodate the equipment that's needed. And our present truck, the cross lays, or where they store the hose off the back, is protected. And in New England, we want it protected.
Yep.
And so that's a pretty big one. And then the number of hoses that we carry on a truck, they had only given us slots for 3, and I think we carry up to 6 different sizes or 5 different
Well,
sizes.
the biggest thing was the dischargers, or where the water
Right.
comes out of the truck. We had
Yeah.
specified 3 off the rear. They only gave us 2,
Two, yeah.
although they said they were compliant with the spec. And the committee did a lot of work in making sure that the engine functioned with our staffing as efficiently as possible. They lowered the hose bed in the rear. They wanted to work primarily off the rear. So that's why that was an important part of our
Sure.
specifications. Long story short is they didn't meet the specification. There was enough major parts that either the truck would have to have been, re-engineered, which, if you added all the things that they omitted, the price would have been up there, and they probably would have had to done some re-engineering, which is really where the money comes, because they have to retool and die to make sure that they could fit things custom, make more custom stuff. And again, in fairness to the other bidder, they delivered the truck that was specified.
Yep. Yes, and so there was, and that just goes on and on. There's so much more. Some of them are kind of high level. Some of them are mission critical. Some of them maybe not so much. But the reality is that they missed a lot.
Gosh.
So with that being said,
So with that said, I have
make a
a
motion to approve that?
yeah. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
The purchase.
Move it along. Is that what you're telling me?
No, to move that, no, to approve that
yeah.
purchase, because if that's the unit.
Yes, and so I make a motion that we approve the specifications from the next inline bidder.
And that's gonna be the Pierce Impel?
Pierce, yep.
Custom rescue pumper,
Yep.
the amount not to exceed $899,000?
So they have all the equipment
Yes.
we need.
They met
Yeah,
the spec.
They
Okay, they
met,
met the spec. This
They
one
actually
did
met the
not.
spec.
Okay.
Yeah, they meant it, the other Pearson that was cheaper,
Right. Okay.
got 40 items, that is a
Okay,
big
did-
deal.
How much
Okay.
was it again?
Not to exceed $899,000.
I don't know that I know the final
my
bid
God.
price, chief.
That was it.
It was, okay.
Yeah,
I'll second that motion.
okay, motion made, second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so voted.
I just wanted to mention that the reason that, we kind of moved this, we advanced this a little bit, went back to the Board of Finance, asked for more money in the sinking fund. We've already experienced 27% increase in pricing over the last 2 years, but we're looking at a 6.5% to 7% increase after November 1st, so we really want to get this PO in tomorrow.
Right, because we're
It's
going,
also-
Yeah,
because ultimately we're saving money by
Right.
going now.
And the
Right.
delivery times,
Right.
Paul,
Yeah,
are
that
so
was the other
Correct.
thing he's talked about.
far out now that we'll end up getting the truck when we expect it to
That's,
to get.
exactly. And I just want to say that the Board of Finance and the RTM did approve additional money, so we're able to do this.
Good.
So,
And we'll see this truck in '24.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It won't be the first time we've ever looked at a piece of vehicle that's gonna take 2 years
Yeah.
to get.
I
Yeah.
know.
God.
EMS, Commissioner Fox?
Okay, the year-to-date ambulance revenue is $746,270. We have been extremely busy,
Yes, yes.
sometimes 5 ambulances.
Yes.
And I won't go through all of the number of transports and so forth, but I think the last item here is that is of interest to the community, is that we're going to be partnering with Yellow Haven Hospital to offer free community CPR classes with the goal of improving cardiac arrest survival.
Interesting.
So Kathy, you're saying that we're at full capacity with the ambulance service right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're beyond.
Beyond.
Okay.
Beyond.
Yeah, beyond.
Yep.
Will those CPR classes be done here?
We would do a couple here, but they want to expand it into the community. It's really a goal for the region. We had already planned on doing some community-based CPR classes here. after the cardiac arrest call that we had at
Lenny's.
One of your board members reached out and asked if we, what could the community do to assist until we get there, because it is a long run from here to Lenny's.
Right.
And so I had reached out to your board. I haven't heard back, but I wanted to let them know that we are.
That's Megan, yeah.
Yeah, we are offering these classes, and it is our hopes to get as many people in the
Yeah.
community to learn and practice CPR. We teach a hands-only CPR now. There's no more mouth-to-mouth. The studies have shown that if you do aggressive, hard, fast,
Hard,
deep
yeah.
CPR, at least 100 compressions a minute, you're moving enough, at least initially, to buy us enough time. And we really need to get the circulation. That's the important thing. So.
And that's it. I mean, that incident was a sort of a classic example because the poor gentleman collapsed, and my neighbor is an APRN, and she was there and able to intervene.
Lucky.
But there was another gentleman there who knew how to do CPR. She would not have been able to set
Do
up
it
the
by
code
herself.
and do it by herself.
Right.
But it so happened that another diner knew how to do it.
Oh, wow.
And he made it to the ambulance anyway. I don't know the ultimate outcome.
And we gave him the best opportunity. We were able to get, pulses back, but, unfortunately, he succumbed to his illness a little bit further on. So we our condolences to their family and everybody involved, because it's a traumatic event to be involved in. It
Yes.
happened in a very public place, but it gave him the best opportunity that they had to be able to let all the other things. We bring the emergency room right to the location, and we can do a lot of things, but we can't do it if we don't bridge the gap.
Right.
That CPR really bridges the gap to allow everything else to work, if it's going to have an opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not like TV.
No, but I think it's a real service to the
It is.
community.
Yeah,
That's great,
gosh,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
buildings, I will handle that for Commissioner Ahern. We're in the process of trying to build out the second floor at Station 9. As you know, it's a wide open room. We did do some provisions, but the chief is working with the selectman's office with the, what's that group?
So we got one price.
Yeah.
It was beyond the bid threshold, which is 12.5, and I think it was almost 20 grand. And so I went to the first selectman. He said that there's several options that we have, because I'm not an architect, so I would have to hire an architect to develop a specification that says I need this wall is going to be built this way, how many studs you need, how many light switches, how much wire, all this, to develop a price, right? So that would add increased costs. And so what I hope to do is, well, how can we get the best price for the community without having me having to hire an architect? So apparently Capital Region has a bid that goes out, and they will come in and they'll write up a proposal, and they'll give it to you. It typically is a lot higher than you could get by just going out into your community and soliciting bids. So we're getting those bids from local community builders, so that when all is said and done, we're gonna try to get the best project at the best price.
Yeah, 'cause we already do have some in-kind materials that are already.
And it's been
some of them
delayed
were
because,
yeah.
As you remember, we had to go through that whole
Yeah,
ADA.
get it all
thing,
approved.
modification,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
Right outside fire headquarters, you'll see that they're digging up the town is, and they're coming through like the courtyard area. They're putting up charging stations that are gonna be on the east end.
Oh,
You'll see them out there. There's gonna be 4 charging stations, chief.
Yep.
4 bays, that way there, so you can charge your car.
Now, I think initially it might just be 1 2-station charger.
Oh, okay.
But because of all the trenching they had to
Looks
do.
like they
and
bought everything in there now.
I recommended that they at least put the
Yeah.
conduit in the ground to do
Yep.
that, and I'm not sure, they might have even decided, hey, let's just put 2 of them here. So, but at least we'll be wired for it.
Yep. And down at Stony Creek Fire Station, I think they paved today, didn't they?
Yeah, they're totally redoing the adjacent community parking lot that was just really kind of an open lot, and there was an ordinance evidently that the town created to specifically deal with that parking spot, but they're striping it, they're marking it, and they're putting signage. But they dedicated 4 spots to first responders. So, the Stony Creek responders can still park in the apron not blocking the apparatus, but there's room to park. But this is 4 dedicated spots in addition to. And of course, if there's other open spots, the
Yeah.
company can use those as well. So it shouldn't disrupt things down there, and it'll hopefully make a better situation overall for the village of Stony Creek.
Okay. And the last thing on the item before we go on, and I have a request, is pension, no report. Buzz?
No pension report per se, but I mean, I am concerned. In December, the volunteer companies will be required to turn in their information of how many of their firefighters, and how many calls they made. Now, last year, we approved 33 volunteer firefighters for pension and stipend. Our numbers sadly are going down, so it wouldn't surprise me that this coming year that we have less firefighters. It's a sad situation. I guess younger people just do not want to get involved with volunteering. It's in the old days, all you had to do, the company was having a call, you showed up, you did whatever you had to do, you probably didn't even have any gear. This day and age, there are so many things you have to go through. It's scary. It's scary. So anyway, but that's basically my report. Is I'll keep my fingers crossed. We still have 33 for next year.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to make a motion, and that we go into executive session.
I'll second that.
Say, all in favor?
Aye.
So voted,
For the record,
7:24.
what, going into executive session,
Personnel matter.
personnel.
Yeah.
Um,
Got to turn
And I'm
that
sorry,
on. Is that
I'm
on?
sorry, hold on, because that's not on the agenda. You need to motion to add that to the agenda in order to do it.
Oh, okay. So I can have a motion to add that to the agenda? We went out and came back in.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now a motion to go into.
Now a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We still did regular session.
7:25.
That's 7:28. We got 28 on my thing. Chief's report. Chief, any highlighted items that you want to go through?
Just that, we have been pretty busy. We had a very busy summer. We're averaging 18 and a half calls, where our previous averages for the last couple of years have been 17. So we're back to being busy. COVID is over. As far as, the people not going to the hospital and whatnot. I don't want to get people up in a tizzy by saying it's over. The other thing I wanted to stress, I gave you a list of some significant calls, but we've had a bunch of calls recently where people have been using either candles or which are open flame or incense type products. They're leaving them unattended, or they're really misusing them as they're intended to be used. And they just really got lucky. Both situations created a very smoky environment, which was a very expensive cleanup for the people. The fire was relatively minor, but even minor fires cause a lot of damage. So my message to the community is, if you must use those things, that use them appropriately in a sturdy thing where nothing can fall over. Don't leave them unattended. You should be there all the time. And it's better just not to use them inside at all. We have other options these days with all the LED options and whatnot. So, because I'd hate to have a tragedy happen because of an open flame candle. Station 9 was temporarily staffed during the bridge closure because our response time to the area was greatly increased. We felt that to provide for the safety of the community, that was the best way. So we staffed a 2-person ambulance and a 2-person engine. That station is normally, as you know, completely volunteer. There are no paid personnel there, and it is a good, 6-minute plus response from headquarters to get into just the lower Indian Neck, never mind into Boston Park and down into Pine Orchard. So we that was very well received. We heard a lot of feedback from the community. They felt much better knowing that we were there. And then lastly, I'd just like to publicly express our sincere appreciation to the Branford Yacht Club for the use of their building during the training, because using those acquired buildings gives us that real world environment that we don't otherwise get from out in the shed or down in the apparatus bay. So we're grateful to have it, and we appreciate that. And other than that, things are going well. The firefighters and our EMS personnel are doing a fantastic job, and we get it done regardless.
Okay.
Yep, good job. Okay, under old business, Engine 4 staffing, volunteer staffing issue. You might as well talk about it overall.
I had a meeting with, this has been an ongoing issue the company's been struggling with. There's currently 5 certified members of Company 4, which is nowhere near the amount necessary. We need a minimum of 12 certified members to really have a reliable response from the volunteers. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is the volunteer engine companies are very much part of our regular response plan. They're not supplemental. They're not they're not just helpers. They're firefighters who are on the first alarm assignment, and we need them. We've had a large loss of volunteers. We're getting to the point of criticality, and Company 4 is at that point now. So I met with the company. They understand. We have some things that we're going to try to accomplish. We're going to try to get the word out, see if we can get some volunteers and some support from the community. But barring that, just to let people know, to put them on notice that that little station there that you think may have personnel in it or will be responding to your emergency, it's really not the case. For Company 4 in Short Beach, from headquarters, we can get there relatively quickly. We have, but even so, because we need the additional support, we've reached an automatic aid agreement with the town of East Haven, where on the alarm of fire, if somebody calls and says my house is on fire, they're sending an engine along with us right off the bat, and that helps us.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
We're doing the same for them.
It's a mutual, but unlike mutual aid, where they usually get called, because it's going to greater alarms, they're getting called right on the report, because we don't have time to play catch up. And oftentimes, as soon as we get there, if they don't need us or we don't need them, we're canceling right away. So, it is kind of the one way we have of alleviating it on that side of town. So how are we moving forward? We're also we're going to have a officers meeting with the remaining volunteer companies. We had one about a year ago or so, where we basically kind of said, hey, we need some ideas. We need to come up with ways to get volunteers into the department. We've tried everything. We were using best practices. We've gone to education classes. The problem, I think I told you before, was studied by a Georgetown professor who was hired through an AFG grant by the Connecticut Fire Chiefs Association to study the problem, figure out the best way to get people in. Listen, we're not the only ones suffering. The Lions Club, the Rotary Club, everybody's suffering for volunteers. It's a demographic change, 2-income families, divorced families, kids doing everything everywhere, and people just not working in their community like they used to. So it's a big problem that every community is facing, but it's compounded once you have a career staff, because just by the nature of the fact that we're here every day, we're getting there first, and a lot of times if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's an automatic fire alarm, and you're going, let the paid guys get it, But it's a problem, and so my charge to them at this next meeting is going to be, listen, you need to start, instead of being 3 individual companies or 4 individual companies, you really need to have a global mindset and start saying, hey, we're one company. If the assignment is Engine 1, Engine 2, which Engine 2 would be the volunteer, they're the next, it's in their district first, let's worry about staffing 2s first, no matter whether you're a member of 9s or 4s or 5s or whatever, and get that one engine out, and then the next engine. And we have members that live over here but respond down there, and they have to pass a firehouse to get there. So we're trying to eliminate all these little kind of kingdom fiefdom problems that I think have created this issue. And if you're trying to entice new people into the fire service, leadership's a big part of it. And if you have kids showing up to a call and they're all gung-ho, but nobody comes to drive the fire engine, they do that a couple of times, they're like, why are we doing this? And they quit. But the other part of the problem is the younger generation, they come in and they're really looking for a job. And so we've onboarded a lot of volunteers, which is a process. We do drug testing, we do physicals, we do training, and we're getting anywhere from 3 months to a year at best out of these people. Out of the last 6 people that came in at company 2, I think only 2 remain over the last year. So we brought in 6, 2 remain.
Well, I think I think the townspeople need to know, and this is, the town fathers, is that automatic aid works in East Haven with Short Beach. It doesn't work in the Indian Neck, Pine Orchard, Paulson Park area. Doesn't work. I mean, let's be honest. We can get Stony Creek, maybe Guilford, but that's still, for them, it's a little bit of a haul. So, I mean, we're gonna have to look at increasing career personnel here and start to man these stations. We're gonna have to move our resources, but it's also gonna take us putting on more personnel, and we're gonna have to look at that seriously at, the upcoming budget. I mean, let's be honest, when that bridge opens back up, those 4 people that we have extra are not gonna be there anymore, and we're really gonna need those 4 people again. We need that, like, the chief brought it up before. Since 1963, Branford has had 1 paid fire engine, and it's the year 2022, we have 1 paid fire engine. So, we have to start the horses aren't there anymore, we have to do it. So, really important. Thanks, chief.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see, the next thing I have here. Okay, new business. To consider and if appropriate, extend a conditional offer of employment for the position of full-time fire chief.
Assistant.
Oh, I keep saying fire chief, assistant fire chief.
Sorry to get rid of it.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay,
To
you wanna?
extend a
Oh, sorry.
conditional offer of employment as an assistant fire chief to Brian Kozak.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so voted. And the next item under the agenda is to consider and if appropriate, appoint Reverend Bill Keane as Fire Department Chaplain. I think right now he serves as the police.
Chaplain.
So he would like
he
to
is.
be fire. We don't have anybody, says she retired, so.
Sharon, retired.
And he's
yeah.
interested to do it.
Yeah, he's been doing the police, and it's not an overwhelming job, which is good for him. It's not there's not a huge call for his services, but
Okay.
it's mostly just supportive of
Yeah.
somebody to be there, listen to. Obviously, this is a very stressful environment. They also help community members affected by different emergencies. So, Reverend Bill, after the 9/11 ceremony, which he is part of every year, said, "Hey, I know you're looking for someone. I'd be interested in helping you guys out too."
He's a good guy.
And he has a good relationship with
We have to
the
get him a
members.
shirt that has
Yeah, he's a good
both
guy.
badges on it, though. All right.
That's okay. We'll get him a fire
Okay.
coat.
Do we have a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
okay, motion made and seconded.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And last night, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Okay?
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appreciate everybody's efforts and hard work.
7:38.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.